Hello, folks. It's Paul Wolf again, the boss man, back again with another lesson on leadership, passion and character. Um, First, I'd like to refer you to my website, www.theboss.rocks. So now I'm actually going to get to delve into my expertise, and that is operating a restaurant. In today's lesson, I'm going to have many lessons on leadership. Um, and I choose the word leadership in particular instead of the word management because there is a difference. Managers are hired and hopefully they are leaders, but there is definitely a difference between leadership and management. Hopefully they're the same thing, but not always the case. Leaders get appointed, or managers get appointed and hired and promoted. Leaders are chosen by the followers, and not always, by a vote or anything, but just they follow. So there is a difference, and it's an important distinction to make. I want to talk about leadership. Anybody can get promoted to be a manager or whatever, but we want to be leaders, and there's an important distinction. We'll get into some of that today. Uh, but I want to talk about being a leader. And the first part about it is having a passion. Not everybody's made to be a leader. Um, so you have to have a desire to be a leader. Um, and desire is so important because um, if you want something, you'll work hard for it. You'll put in the extra hours. You'll do a little bit extra to make it happen. And so nothing can overcome desire. If you want it bad enough, you can make anything happen. Okay? So desire is the first part. And of course, this mostly what I'm talking about is relating to a restaurant. So the next point is care for the customer. You have to care about the customers. They're just not a number. They're not just sales. You actually have to care for the person, and you want to make sure they're getting a quality product, a quality service, or both, and care about them. If you don't have any concern for them, you'll never succeed because they are the purpose of the business. They're the only way a business exists. Um, you also have to care for your staff because otherwise you'll be doing it yourself. If you treat your staff bad, don't pay them fairly, don't treat them fairly, don't give them the things that are standard, um, they're not going to do the job for you. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up doing it yourself. So you got to care for your staff as well. Um, you got to have a love for food and cooking. And you don't have to be a chef, but you got to care about the product and how the product gets made. If you don't care about it, you won't succeed in being a leader either. So you have to have a care for the product as well. You have to love to be of service because the restaurant business is a service industry as much as it is almost as much as it is a product business. It's also a service business. So you have to want to be a service. If you just want to make product and you don't, want to interact with your customer, if you don't want to help them and make their life a little bit easier or enjoyable, you're not going to be successful at being a restaurant manager. It has to be fun. And let's face it, I mean, it's the age-old adage, just do things that you love to do. And so it has to be fun. If you don't enjoy doing it, then find something that you do enjoy doing. The second part is character. And this is something that I'm real big on. Anyone who knows me is heard me talk about character any number of different times. And so it's a real important thing. Um, the foundation is trust. Uh, if you talk about all the different attributes of a person and everything, I think trust is probably the most important one. Trust ends up building a foundation in relationships, whether it's a business customer relationship, a marriage, friendship, whatever. Trust is the foundation. If you don't have a good foundation, it's never gonna work out. If your friend doesn't trust you, if you don't trust the business, if the business doesn't trust you to pay, whatever it is, in that relationship, the very bottom of it is at the very bottom of it is trust. So trust is the foundation we build all this on, and that's probably the most important part of character. Um, in order to build trust, trust is built on honesty. So um, if trust is broken when there's dishonest things that occur. So trust is honesty is what builds trust. So that's honesty is actually part of trust. Also, caring. If you don't care, um, why would anyone follow you? Okay, um, you can't expect others to care when you don't. So you've got to care and have a legitimate concern about the business as a whole, the customer, the staff, everybody. You have to have an appreciation. You have to appreciate your staff. You have to appreciate your customer. If you don't have those, again, you're going to fail. All this adds up to integrity. And with integrity is character. So um, it's the accumulation of these character qualities. Um, you also have to be accept good and bad. You know, sometimes your staff's going to let you down. Sometimes you're going to let yourself down, and you got to forgive yourself for making a mistake. And you've got to forgive your staff. So not everything's going to be roses. Sometimes, you got to make lemonade out of lemons. That's just the way it is. Accept people for who they are. Not every person is made to be a cook. Not every person is made to be a cashier or a waitress. You have to be able to accept who they are, then work with those people's qualities, try to improve their weaknesses, and highlight their strengths. So you have to accept them for who they are, and we all unique. Okay. You have to care for the customer, the business, and the staff. Okay, I see it as a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay, and it requires a balance. If you don't have care for the customer, the business, and the staff, it's a win-win-win situation. If the customer doesn't win, they're not going to come back. If the business doesn't win, they don't make a profit, it's not going to exist. If the staff isn't happy, they're going to find another job. So everybody has to win in business. It's a win-win-win situation. You have to be willing to do the right things. You have to be willing to do the right thing, should I say. Good intentions count. Okay? And this is real important because not everything is going to be perfect. You strive for perfection in order to obtain excellence. And you're never going to be perfect, but you strive for it. And knowing that you're going to come up short, it's better to get that 95 than to only try to be good and then only get an 80. If good is an 85. Because you're never, if your goal's here, you're never going to exceed your goal. If your goal's here, because once you get to your goal, you're going to stop. So you got to have your goals got to be as high as you can reach. So then when you come up short, you're still in a really good place. Okay? But you have to be able to do the right thing. It's kind of goes back to what would Jesus do? It's a matter of ethics. It's a matter of character. It's a matter of morals, standards, values, beliefs. Okay? And good intentions do count. And you got to remember this when it comes to your staff too, and they make a mistake. You know, were they trying to do the right thing? Were they trying to screw something up? Were they purposely taking a shortcut on something they shouldn't have? Did they know better? Or were they trying to do the right thing? And if, you can forgive somebody, it's a lot easier to forgive somebody that was trying to do the right thing and made a mistake. So good intentions do count. However, good intentions are not everything, though. Remember, this is a result-oriented business. The result is for the employee getting paid. If the business is good intentions to pay you, but they don't make any money, and then they don't pay you, the employee doesn't care. They just want paid. Good intentions don't pay the power bill at the restaurant. So good intentions doesn't get the customer's order right or cooked properly or made properly. So although good intentions count, results is what it's all about. And you have to remember that. So it's important to, wear someone's heart, but also they've got to eventually produce results. Because results is what it's all about. Leaders make others better. When doing things around when you work with other people, habits become contagious. If someone else sees you washing your hands all the time, they're going to wash their hands all the time. If they see you working quickly, even when it's slow, they're going to work quickly. If they see you clean up your mess after you make a mess, they're going to clean up their mess. Those things are count. So, as a leader, you need to be setting up a good example because people are going to follow you. Good intentions and failing is still failing. I think I just kind of covered that one. But, and again, like I said, good intentions are important. It's important to distinguish where someone's heart is in their intentions, but at the same extent, failing is failing. And they've got to learn. Excellent results are the goal. Again, we try for perfection to obtain excellence. C. Don't make the same mistake twice. Not everything is black and white or yes or no. I go back to when I first moved out of the house, to my parents' house, and I thought it was going to be a breeze. I thought, I know right from wrong. I know what's good and bad. It wasn't so easy. Life is an assortment of gray areas. And things aren't always clear. Sometimes you don't know the answer until you make a decision. And it's only from that decision that you make the answer. And that's an important thing to bring up. When you're faced with a situation and you don't know right or wrong, but you know if you choose this one or if you choose this one, you're going to get your answer. Well, then in that case, what you do is you put out a fake answer so you can get the correct answer in return without going full bore into it. Sometimes you need to sleep on it and wait to make that difficult decision for another day or a week or whatever the case may be. Decisions, there's so many gray areas, there's different ways to deal with it. But sometimes you can actually put out a fake answer out there and then you can see the customer's reaction or the employee's reaction or whatever without going all the way to see their reaction. And then once you get their reaction, then you know Okay, now I do this. Um, for example, handling a customer complaint. Um, if you don't know if this customer wants their entire order for free, you've screwed it up. You've admitted your fault, uh, and you don't know if this customer wants their full money in return, or you can just give them $5 off. Or okay, so you put an offer out there and say, um, you don't commit to anything, but you say, well, if I gave you some money back, would that be okay? And what you do is you don't listen to what they say, you listen to the tone of their voice. If they say, well, oh, I guess that'd be okay. Yeah, they said okay, but you can tell they're not excited about it, you know. And then your response is, because of the tone of their voices, no, you know what? I tell you what, we really screwed this up for you. I'm going to take care of the whole order for you, and you're not going to have to pay anything. Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, yeah, it might cost you $20 instead of $5. You might have gotten away with $5, but if you gave them the $5 off, they may never come back. If you give them the $20 off, they may spend another $150 there the rest of the year. Which way's better? Give them the $20 off and give them to spend another $150. It's the right way to go. So that's an example of how everything's not black and white, yes or no. And then holding others accountable is part of leadership. It is. A leader has to make others better. If you're unwilling to face that confrontation of holding someone accountable, then you shouldn't be a leader. Being a leader, part of that is dealing with that, and you have to deal with the negatives and the positives. You don't have to be an asshole or jerk, but you need to be able to have that confrontation and confront that employee about their mistake and hold them accountable. And this is one of my pet peeves, and one of the things I've worked really hard on over my 30 years in management is how to deal with that. When I was younger, I used to get mad, cuss, crawl up their ass and die. Let's just be honest. I could be a real jerk. Okay. As I've grown older, I realized there's just no need for it. And also, I did myself more harm because I would lose sometimes a good employee, because, we expect most from our best employees. And so you're harder on them because you expect more of them. So when they let you down, it's a bigger letdown. So, I pull them into the office or take them out back and talk to them and really lay into them good. And they walk away pissed off, calling you every name under their breath and everything else. And I've probably done the same thing, when my boss has done it to me. It's funny about the good employees. If they're really a good employee, you don't have to say much. They'll beat themselves up. You don't have to really ream them out bad. They probably already know their mistake before you know it. Number one. Number two is they're going to beat themselves up. If they're really a good employee, they're going to punish themselves inside. So you really just need to correct them. And then also you got to remember: is this a learning problem? Have I taught this employee the right way? Does this employee know the right way? Or is this a teaching scenario? Sometimes it's a coaching or a teaching or a reteaching or training scenario. Often that's the case because people in our business, in the restaurant business, don't get trained well enough. That's just the way it is. And, all too often, employees are trained by other employees. If you want to know about a certain subject, you go to the source and find as much out about that subject as you can. You don't ask the guy that learned from 5 other guys and ask him. You want to go to the number 1 guy. How often in the restaurants does general managers train their employees? Almost never. There's just not enough time in the day. So it gets put off to the assistant managers put it off on a crew leader puts it off on another employee. And that's unfortunately sometimes the way it works, and it's just, because the margins are so small and time is so limited that you can't do it that way. But whenever possible, man, as a manager and a leader, you want to train your own people. So, but you start at the top and work down. As a general manager, you train your assistant really well, because once you get him trained really well or her trained really well, he or she can help you. Now there's 2 of you doing it. And then you train your other assistant, and your shift leader, and so on. And then your crew leader. And next thing you know, in a month or 2, it's not just you helping train everybody. You've got 3 or 4 others. And maybe they're not quite as good as you, but they're going to be pretty close if you've trained them well. So, and that's the way you do it. And I've done that many, many times. I go in, I've been into a restaurant, it's all screwed up, I've sat there to fix it. That's the point. Well, the person who's going to get most of my attention at the beginning is my assistant manager, my number 1. Or in this case, number 2 in charge. And I'm going to focus with them the most, and then the number 3 and so on. Because you've got, when you go into a store and you get a staff of 20, 30, 40, 50 employees, you can't train them all. You can't do it by yourself. So you've got to, start from the top and work down, and then get them helping you. So this is the end of my video on leadership, passion, and character. Please check out my website. Here's the address again. And for those of you seeing this on YouTube, please subscribe to me. Leave me comments on my website and or YouTube. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to visit my website, get my email address, and shoot me an email. I'll be glad to help you, or just post up a question on the blog comment section, and I'll try to get back with you. Thank you, and God bless.